First woman CEO, and it's a big deal. 33 years at EY, started off as an intern. I want to know from you, the moment that you got the call saying that this is it, what was the feeling? What went through your head?
So it wasn't a call, we were in person, and Carmine right next to me actually walked into a small office and literally looked at me and said, "It's you." And it was an emotional, obviously, day. I've worked at the firm the entirety of my career, coming out of school. And this is the firm that I love and always planned on staying. And I'm absolutely humbled and honored to take on this unbelievable tradition and legacy that we've had of really strong, dynamic CEOs. And we're coming at this transition from an absolute position of strength. Last year, we ended with revenues just under $50 billion, one of our best years in terms of performance, 14% growth. So it's a really exciting time for the firm.
A very exciting time, as you pointed out, very strong performance. Carmine, 10 years for you, 50 billion clocked, 14% growth last year. How do you improve on that, Janet? What's going to be the plan? What's going to be the strategy?
Well, we have great momentum and across all of our businesses, and we're going to take the next couple of months to really refresh our strategy, to spend time transitioning our clients, transitioning relationships around the world, and really hit July 1 from a position of strength. And as part of the strategy, there's some of our businesses that we're absolutely looking to differentially invest in, which I'm really excited about. And we learned a lot through the last year and a half as a firm, and I think we've got such great opportunities to really make our business fit for purpose, to basically serve our clients in the way that they want to be served, and to transform ourselves. We have a great brand, it's iconic, but we can't stand still, and we've really had a great run, but there's a lot of things that we're going to have to really adapt to a changing environment, and the world's not getting any less complicated.
No, it's not getting any less complicated. I'll talk to you, Janet, in just a second about the changes that you believe you will need to make to adapt to the new environment. But Carmine, let's talk about the current environment. When we last met, which was in India just a few months ago, you were fairly cautious about the outlook, whether it was inflation or high interest rates. The macroeconomic environment continues to look challenging. We don't know how the Red Sea will play out as far as inflation is concerned. As you look out to 2024, do you feel a sense that things are likely to get better or worse?
Shereen, it's a great question. So first of all, thank you for having me, and Janet here. It's great to be with you. I do think things will get better as the year goes along, but I think most equity markets have overestimated how quickly, and therefore item number one is around interest rates / inflation. I think central banks are going to have less cuts, and they're going to be further out. So I think that will delay any kind of real robust economies, in particular in the US and Europe. And so I do think that will slow down. And then I do think the uncertainty on geopolitics is also causing a lot of pause. And as you know, 50% of the world population is going through an election this year, 60% of GDP. And a few of the elections maybe seem more secure on who it is, in particular in India, and maybe even in the UK, but the US is certainly
a big
not
question
secure.
mark.
So the uncertainty always creates issues in terms of confidence in business and confidence in terms of businesses investing. So I think things will get better, to your questions, but it's going to be later in the year.
So do you think that there is a secular risk aversion, a risk off, or do you think in pockets like India, people would be willing to at least make strategic bets at this point in time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as I said to you when we were in India, I think India, almost everyone I talk to is very bullish in terms of India. As you know, we put out a report in terms of a long-term GDP for India, 26 trillion in 2047. When I talk to our clients from India, they say we should do better than that. We should do better than the report we came out. So lots of tailwinds with India in terms of obviously the demographics, but also the opportunity to take on some of the supply chain away from China. We are seeing some of that. So there's some real opportunities. And assuming nothing goes wrong in your political system in the long term, I think India's in a good spot.
Janet, you've been a regular visitor to India as well, I believe. So,
absolutely.
The tailwinds that Carmine speaks of, how are you looking at the India story, and specifically EY's contribution, EY India's contribution to EY?
Yeah, it's an important relationship that we have for all of our businesses, and you're right, I've spent quite a bit of time. Actually, in May was the first time I was there for some extended period of time. I'm usually in and out just for work. I actually had some time for some visits as well on the personal side. But it's just so critical. The talent in India is so important, and that's really what we're most excited about. And the entrepreneurialism that we have there, and so many of our new ideas and our new technology, our new assets are developed by our talent there. So that will continue to be a big part of our traditional businesses, but it's also about our future as well. And we see a lot of our clients continuing to make investments in India, and that's what I'm most excited about, building things together with our clients, changing the operating models of our clients' businesses as well as changing ours with the talent pool that we have in India.
So let's talk about the change, and you said that there will be refreshing and there will be reshaping as well. So
Yes.
what are you going to focus on? What are you going to prioritize from that perspective of change?
Yeah, so look, I mean, again, I said we've come in from a position of strength. We've had 40% growth over the last 5 years under Carmine's leadership, and we're really proud of that. But again, we've built our model today for a business that was half the size that it is today, and we're really looking to set a strategy that's going to last for the next 10 or 15 years. So it starts with our brand. Our brand is absolutely iconic. It's resilient, but we can't stand still. That starts with, frankly, quality in all of the work that we do, and that is paramount to everything. But again, we have to transform and adapt, and there's going to be certain business models that we're going to have to embrace to deliver and continue our global integration as a firm, which I believe is a differentiator in the market from our competitors. So that's going to be really instrumental. And then we'll look at the talent agenda as well. And I'm viewed as a next-gen leader, I guess, as part of this transition, and to make sure that we're continuing in a really complex environment. Like I said, the world's not getting less complex, but to make sure that we're providing great opportunities for our people to take on new learnings. We just invested $3.6 billion, not only on some of our traditional services, but to upskill in areas like technology, AI, and I think that's going to be critically important as well, that we are transforming our workforce to stand the test of time as well. So I'm excited about that too.
Carmine, let's address the people issue, because, Janet's been there 33 years. You've spent almost, 4 decades at EY. But, there is, of course, the natural, normal attrition that we've seen across different sectors, including yours. But how do you get people to stay? How do you ensure that you have a talent pipeline that's poised for leadership? Are you trying to do anything differently on that front today?
Yes, so let me start, let me just go back a second in terms of India and how bullish we are in India. We have 100,000 people in India out of our 400,000, 60,000 in our global delivery service and 40,000 in our practice in India. That is, and we will continue to grow. In terms of talent, retaining talent, coming out of the pandemic, we had the Great Resignation. Our attrition rates were in the mid-20s. As time has gone along now, that attrition rate is in the single digits. So we have found ourselves in a place where we probably have too many people versus where the work is in the short term. So in some geographies around the world, we've made some adjustments. But in terms of keeping our talent, Shereen, the biggest factor right now, particularly young talent, is they have to be learning and they want to be trained. And so we offer training like no one else, both on the job training, but also formal training in areas like AI, sustainability. We have what we call our badge program, where you literally have to do courses and you get badges. You start with a bronze badge, silver, and so forth, and you move up. We also are offering MBAs for free to our people, one in sustainability, one in data analytics, and we're working on one in terms of AI. Training for us is what keeps our people here and keeps people interested, and frankly provides value to our clients.
Janet, in terms of investments and in terms of the bets that you intend to make, especially in a world where we're seeing this crazy digitization take off, and everyone's now talking about AI, how are you looking at the AI opportunity for EY as well as for your clients? What are the questions that they're asking you? What are the questions that you're asking yourself?
Yeah, so we're looking at AI in 3 distinct buckets, and one, like you said, it's about how is it going to impact our clients, and I'm really excited to see some of the use cases that we've been developing by sector, and we're getting great ideas, and that's really the one area of focus. And then it's about how it's going to impact ourselves, and we've heard, as we've been here this week, about some disruption to jobs and everything else, but it's really about greater productivity and efficiency and doing things differently. And I, for one, we've done it in my practice for some time. We're really seeing some great ideas bubble up from the bottom. We talk about how do you keep our younger people engaged. They're some of the ones whose jobs, if they're not thinking ahead, may be really impacted. And what I love is that they're embracing the change and taking that on so that they're part of it. And we always talk about AI having humans at the center, and I think that's really important. And then the last bucket that brings that together is about AI for good. And we're a trust business, and we're very proud of that. But how do you bring government and business together to make sure that all the changes that are coming at our clients and internally are really for the good? And I think that's a really great opportunity for us as well.
Well, what are you hearing from clients in terms of use cases, and when do you believe we will start to see adoption at scale? Because right now, the conversations that I've had, it's largely around sort of improving customer experience and so on and so forth.
Customer experience, simplify internal processes for our clients, again, where there's high, number of individuals doing less challenging tasks. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing those cases all across the board and differentiated by sector, some very common, some very unique. But I do believe that, if we will see by the end of 2024 a little bit more of transformation at scale with some of those early use cases that have been proven.
So the transition plan till July 1, what is it that you leave Janet with in terms of guidance, in terms of advice on the road ahead?
First of all, I am so proud that Janet is succeeding me. I've known Janet for a long, long time, and she's going to be great in the role. She has a tremendous ability in terms of motivating our people and really doing really well with clients. And in our business, that's what's really important. So in terms of going forward, obviously Janet's really developing a strategy in terms of going forward. I think AI will be at the center of that strategy where we are today. Things like sustainability will be part of that strategy, and then making our organization more efficient will also be part of that strategy as well. I think those are critical at this point in time. Things will evolve as we go forward. We haven't talked about Everest, the project that we're on.
Yes, I was just about to. But are you leaving her with taking that forward? I know when we last spoke, you said at some time it needs to be done because the rationale for that to happen continues to be on the table, but it's a question of timing. Yeah,
so that's my view, Shereen. I mean, the rationale is still there. The conflicts are all there. One of the things we've learned so much during the process for Everest. One of the things that the organization has learned is value creation and the actual value of the organization. $50 billion in revenue of an organization, the value is tremendous. But I think our organization, our partners, didn't really understand the value of different pieces. So I think as that goes along and our partners understand it more, I'm sure that will come back on the table at some point. It'll be Janet and her leadership team decision on what they want to do. Certainly in the short term, that's not in the cards. In the short term, things have to move forward. The economy has to change as well, and so forth. But I think that is something that I'm sure will be looked at in the future.
Are you ready to climb Mount Everest?
Well, like Carmine said, we learned a lot about our business, and we have the opportunity in the next couple of years to take those learnings and really institute some changes, again, I mentioned, to make us a more efficient business, take out some costs, but also work more globally. And again, that's really important for our firm and for our success in the short term. And then as it relates to, the go forward, our team will decide that. And again, Carmine said the strategic rationale is there. But we have a lot of work to do if we're ever going to be in that position again.
Let me end by asking you, Janet, as far as the strategic plan is concerned, you've laid it out for us. Of course, we will wait to hear the nuts and bolts. Yes. But for revenue kickers, would monetization of some of your assets, including your tech assets specifically, be on the cards? What else could you perhaps look at?
That's absolutely true. We're going to take a fresh look at the entirety of our portfolio and, again, prioritize some of those areas. We're also really investing in a sector model, and we're also going to have to prioritize certain sectors over others globally as well. And we've always loved our businesses equally, and I think that's one of the learnings coming out of business. We're really going to look at our relative opportunities and market share in certain sectors across our businesses and make some differential bets. And that's hard, right? You have to have capital to do that. You have to make some tough choices. But I think after the last couple of years, we're ready to make some of those more difficult choices.
So given the market share that you enjoy and given your competitive strengths, which are the sectors that you believe you will double down on?
There's many. So I don't want to give away all my secrets before I refresh my strategy. But I would tell you that there's more that we can be doing at a globally integrated scale and making sure that the priority sectors are really aligned across the globe. That's first and foremost what's going to be important. And then we have to make decisions, right? And I think, again, some of the conflicts that Carmine mentioned in terms of channel choice, we want to make sure that we have a right balance in each of our sectors across each of our businesses, allowing all the businesses to grow and thrive. And that's going to be a priority to make sure the balance exists in the portfolio to allow our consulting and strategy businesses grow, as well as our audit portfolio, and that's really going to be the focus.
Well, Janet, we wish you the very best of luck.
You.
Carmine, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time once again here on CNBC-TV18, and I look forward to seeing you in India, Janet.
Absolutely.
And of course, Carmine, look forward to seeing you as well. Thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18.
Thank you.
We are going to take a break, but the conversations will continue. Stay on with us. We're back in a moment with more headliners.